All right, hey guys, Bill Rookstool, Cross Country Mortgage AMG team here. We're going to go over our home buyers success guide today. This is what you're going through with your buyers before you actually show them the home. And the key is, guys, most people run to the house. Okay, I need to see this house at 4 o'clock instead of going through the professional presentation first. It puts you on a different level than the client. Now, if you go meet them at the house first, what happens is the tail wags the dog, and then you trying to get them in line, and hey, I'm going to my 3% and this is what the home should price at, and they're going to tell you all the information versus you need to establish yourself as the professional up front. Never show your price, guys, until you show your value. So if your a client were to call you and they want to see a home at 4 o'clock, that's great. You want to schedule that for 4 o'clock, and you say to them, would you be opposed to hopping on a quick 10 to 15 minute call here, the Zoom call, let's say, because that's the easiest path of least resistance. Would you be opposed to hopping on 10 to 15 minutes so we can go through the process? And if this is the right home for you, I want you to be prepared so that we can make an offer right away, because it is still a very strong seller's market. And they're going to reply with, no, I'm not opposed to that, because they're comfortable. It's easy for people to say no. So this is what you will send them. This separates you from the competition. I can't tell you how many real estate agents don't have something from a professional presentation. Even just having a presentation that you can send the client, even if you're not going through the whole thing with them, maybe you're just going through one or two slides, completely separates you. Okay, it's not fair for you to expect your friends and family just to use you without establishing that you're the professional, that you're going to be the one that's negotiating for them and that's going to make them money or save them money in the transaction. So when you go through this presentation, boom, you send it over to them. You're going to start off. The first thing you're going to start with here is going to be your background. Okay. So it doesn't matter if you got into the business last night or if you've been in the business 20 years, whatever it's going to be. So for myself, hey, Bill Rook's still on with XYZ real estate company here. And I've been in the mortgage, business 20 years. In your case, you want to say, hey, how long you been into the real estate business? I have a background, Jen. Jen's a first-time home buyer in this case. Okay, so we're just going to do a little back and forth. But I have a background, in real estate as an investor as well as a developer. However, you want to structure yourself. Now, if you don't have a large background in real estate, of course, lean on your team, lean on your real estate office. But you want to get to the point across here that, hey, I'm going to be a trusted advisor for you throughout this process. Okay. I'm going to navigate the process for you so that you can, number one, win. Winning is getting the home under contract in a really, really strong seller's market, Jen. So I'm going to do my best here so that we actually get a home under contract, and that is the number one thing that your clients are looking for. Okay. They want, when they find the right home, you can't miss. You got to just find the right home for them. Okay. Number two is going to be payment, and three is going to be the price. So the next step is, Jen, here's the team that I work with. And I want to introduce you to my team because most likely, Jen, it's going to be the difference between you potentially owning a home or not. And what my job is when we find the right home, Jen, is that we actually land it under contract. Most likely, if it's priced correctly, there's going to be five or six offers on that particular home. So let me show you how my team's going to operate here and why we're going to put you in the best position possible. First of all, our mortgage lender here, Brian Rookstool, they do a fantastic job. Cross Country is the number one purchase lender in the country, but they're going to do some things for you throughout this process. And I'm going to show you that with the 7 steps to win an offer, but also with their guarantee that they're going to put you in the best position to own a home. So the last thing I would want to have happen is that we utilize some other resources, because of course you can talk to whoever you'd like, but utilizing other resources could put you at a major disadvantage or even just on par. But in the case of our lender, you're going to be put to the top of the pile. So if there's five or six offers, okay, you're going to be number one, the person that they want to deal with, because we're going to provide them the most certainty and we're going to give them the best terms. So I'm going to show you throughout the process how we do that. Other people on my team, Jen, we have a transaction coordinator. She's going to be guiding you through the process. Any questions that you have, of course, you always have me available, but you're going to be able to reach out to them as well. Our title company here, XYZ Settlement Services, they do a fantastic job. They're right in the office. So our closing, we're going to be able to do right here at the office for you. They're going to be able to give you copies of your paperwork and everything else once you get your correct house here. And then, of course, the home inspector. It's still a very strong seller's market. Sometimes we're having to waive that home inspection to get the house under contract because it is so competitive. But if we're able to get a home inspection, and we have some methods, by the way, if we can't get a home inspection in place during the contract period, that we can do it prior to putting the offer in, at least a version of that. So, Joe's going to do a fantastic job for you on that as well. So let's talk about just the process. Okay. So the process first, we need to know our budget. Jen, have you had a chance to get pre-approved yet?
No.
Okay, great. Well, in order to shop with confidence, we have to get our numbers in line. And from a seller's perspective, the best thing to understand this is they never question whether or not you love the house or the kitchen or the backyard. Okay. But what they do question is whether or not your mortgage is going to close. So getting pre-approved is the most important part of the process, simply because it's the difference between you owning a home, the level of certainty regarding your finances, okay, that we can give the seller of the property. So one of the things that I mentioned our lender is going to do with you is he's going to, once he underwrites you and gets all your documentation, he's going to actually provide a $10,000 guarantee or contract to the seller of the property that if that mortgage doesn't close, okay, he's going to pay them $10,000. So would you agree that that is a pretty high level of certainty if you were selling your home?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. Getting pre-approved. So this, again, because it's the most important part of the process regarding your finances, because we need to show certainty to the seller, I just want you to see what the process looks like. And it's much less complicated than people might make you think it is. It's really a simple application. It only takes 10 minutes. Our lender is going to reach out to you after this. Okay. He's going to take 10-minute application. From there, you have to submit your documents. Okay. So what we do on the lending side, what Brian Rookstall and Cross Country does is he's going to actually underwrite you ahead of time. So he's going to collect your tax returns, your pay stubs, all of those things so that he can have a consultation with you, similar to what we're doing today. We're doing a consultation so that we're on the same page. From there, he's going to let us know how aggressive we can be on terms. He's going to go through the different products with you. But more importantly, he's going to confirm for you that you 100% qualify. And again, that's where that guarantee is going to come from. So in order to do this, as I mentioned, we're going to have to provide some documents. But here's the $10,000 guarantee. As I mentioned, Jen, this could be the difference between you owning the home and not on your dream home. Okay. A lot of people put offers in and they, second, third place, no one gets a trophy for that. So the number one job I have for you is when we find the right home. Okay. And it's not a guarantee, of course, but is to do everything we possibly can to get it under contract. So the last thing I would want to do, Jen, is to give you a call, 9 a.m. the next day when you've already kind of pictured the kids playing in the backyard, you're cooking in the kitchen, and tell you, hey, we were so close, but we were only second place. And we can't guarantee that we're going to 100% get the home, but this $10,000 guarantee for the seller, just put yourself in the seller's shoes. If you have two offers that are right around the same thing, right around the same number, but one of them has a $10,000 check if the mortgage falls through, which one are you going to go with, right? So again, it just puts us in the best position possible. And I'd hate to have to make that call to you. And, the reason why we missed the house is because we didn't do everything up front that we could have to get it under contract. So these are the financial items we're going to collect: 30 days of pay stubs, business and personal tax returns, depending on if you're self-employed. He's going to collect some bank statements. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to match your pre-approval with your home search. So based off of your debt to income ratio and what payments you are comfortable with, we're going to customize that pre-approval essentially with the homes that are going to fit your market. And at the end of this, Jen, we're going to go through your entire wish list and everything that you want in a home to make sure that we can hit all those bullet points and make sure in that price point, right, that we can get exactly the type of home that we want. The real estate market right now, Jen, it's still a very strong seller's market. So, as a first-time home buyer, what I can tell you is most of my first-time home buyers have someone helping them throughout the transaction. Are you getting advice from anyone right now? Perhaps a parent?
My dad.
Okay, awesome. So your dad. So look, that is fantastic. And I really advise that. I think that's the best thing possible because your dad's probably been through a few real estate transactions. But what I can tell you is every real estate market is different. So if you would reach out to him, if he wouldn't be opposed to this, because most of our first-time home buyers, they want the person helping them to be fully aware of the real estate market. So we do a housing forecast with our lending partner, and that is based off of the number one real estate economist in the country, Barry Habib, and also Bill Rookstall, who's a local developer and investor and real estate professional. He's going to go through just some different supply demand factors that are working in this county and the surrounding areas. He also goes through some pretty interesting reports that you're going to want to see. The cost of waiting. So if we don't get the house under contract this year, how much more the house would be next year? You're renting currently right now. How much is the cost of renting for you? We have under 2 months of supply right now, Jen. So that is a very strong seller's market. A buyer's market is over 6 months supply. So there's a good chance that we're going to have to pay into the future value of the home, not overpay, but into the future value of the home in a competitive, situation. Meaning if there's five, six, seven offers, if we really want the home, we have to determine when our break even point will be in the future if we're going to go over asking. So all of those things we're going to be able to go over with you. That's at 4 o'clock next Tuesday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and register you for that. That'll give you all the reminders leading up. And if you could email me your dad's contact information, I'm going to get him plugged in there too and put his cell in there too. I'd love to just connect with him ahead of time, just to say hi. And I'll be on that forecast as well. And we can certainly go over it after the forecast too. There's going to be a lot of really good information. Does that make sense, Jen?
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Now let's go through the offer process. This is probably the most important thing, Jen, because look, although we like each other and we like spending time together, I know we had a good time at the barbecue last week. The goal here is to get a house under contract. So for me, that is winning. Okay. When we find the right house, that's winning. There's a lot of people out there, Jen, that have been looking at real estate for 1, 2, and 3 years because they're not competitive with their offer. So they never get homes under contract. Okay. And that's cost them a lot of money. The opportunity cost of that is way more significant than the amount of money that they might have even been able to save if they were living with their parents for 2 and 3 years. So they've lost a lot more money. So we don't want to do that. Okay. Number one, offer price. So offer price is always going to be a determination of how competitive the house is priced right now, then in comparison to how many months of inventory, right? So we're going to go through that, and each house is going to be different, but certainly right now with only 1.7 months of inventory, Jen, it's going to be competitive. The rest of this, okay, regarding inspection periods, loan approvals, guarantees, contingencies, once you have your appointment here, your consultation on the lending side, and we go through the financing, then we're going to determine just how competitive we're going to be able to make our offer. Also, if there's no other offers on the house, then certainly some waiving of contingencies we don't have to do. But most likely, if it's the right home, we're going to have to get very aggressive. Okay. And I want you to be on the same page, and our lender will certainly explain that and help us with that. But the big thing that he's going to do with us as well is he's going to help in the negotiation because they're concerned, right? A seller really just wants certainty. They want to make sure that your loan's going to close. Well, he's going to reach out, okay, to the seller of the property. He's going to talk to the listing agent as well, and he's going to be the one that is selling your financing. Okay, we do some aggressive things when we need to. So, for instance, most mortgage companies can't do this, but he can close in as quickly as 15 days. But the big one is he's going to help us negotiate, and the listing agent is going to take his call because he's providing an additional contract to them, stating that if your mortgage falls through, he's going to pay them $10,000. So, all things being equal, when we send our offer in, because your terms are going to be more competitive, okay, and you're going to have a $15,000 guarantee, and you can close quicker than any of the other offers, they're going to want to negotiate with you, okay? It won't guarantee we get the house, but it'll certainly put us in the best position. That my goal is that they at least come back to us and say, hey, Bill, look, we like your terms. We love your offer. We love your client. We want to work with this mortgage company. In order to get the house, though, we're going to need you to come up $2,000 or $3,000, maybe to match where the other offer is that they have on the table. All things being equal, then we can come back to you, Jen, and say, hey, look, I think this makes sense. This is what we have to pay. You would have already been on the housing forecast, so you're making an educated decision about your real estate at that point. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And now, Jen, let's get into, the neighborhood and what you're looking for in a home. So, I title this as general preferences, but I just want to take some notes because I want to be very clear on exactly the home that you want. You only have so many weekends right now to look at real estate, and I'm going to be taking you out to see those homes. So I want to make sure the homes that we're looking at are really homes that fit, within the criteria of what you want. Okay. So, we can start here with, are you looking for, a single family or a condo? And I'll stop it here, guys. So when you're going through this, it's very important that you're going to take copious notes when you're going through these questions. I'm not going to go through all the questions, but, and why that's important, a follow-up is really good. And when they ask you questions throughout this process too, you always want to follow up with, because you do this all the time. If Jen asked me a question, great question, Jen. Let me get into that for you. Okay, so you want to engage them there. And then when they give you feedback, when you're asking questions like how many bedrooms, you want to know why certain things are important to them. Okay. And you really want to listen. You want to take notes at that point because you've now sold, your services. You've shown your value already. Okay. So you can now begin to show your price, of course, once you've shown your value. So now, I always go with the assumptions. Yeah, at this point, I've gone through things. I'm going to show you how I've separated from the competition. Okay. And now I want to know, I'm assuming at this point that Jen's working with me. After that, guys, contract to close. Look, you got some basic stuff that you go through. You don't have to go through this stuff in detail, important terms. This is more stuff that they can just have longer term. Because again, Jen and I are meeting at 4 o'clock, and here's my testimonies. And Jen, and then I would kind of, after I hit those quickly, because again, guys, I'm in this appointment's only going to take me 15 to 20 minutes max, right? But I've established myself as the professional that has the background in real estate, that understands how we're going to get this under contract. So then when I meet Jen at 4 o'clock at the house, the tail is not wagging the dog. Okay. Jen is now looking to me as the professional that's going to give her the advice. Now, what happens a lot of times, guys, is right here. When you're going through the preferences, these preferences aren't going to actually match up with the first house that they wanted to see. Shockingly, right? And they might just decide at that point, hey, we're going to exclude this, but now I'm going to set up the search, and maybe there's another property I know of in the market that I can set, an appointment for. Okay, because I'm the local real estate agent with the professional local knowledge of what is on the market. Okay, they're just popping on Zillow here and there, and they don't really know what the inventory is. They don't really know what might be coming in your office. You have the coming soon board in your office, right? So you can get them excited, about something that might fit their criteria. So I hope that helps you guys. If you have any questions, please just give me a buzz, and I'm happy to review this with you guys at any time. Thanks so much.